Evening, guys. Hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay. Um, I fixed the radio, and Nightwing is already here. I wanted to talk with you, a bit anyway. Whether that's in chat or on here, I don't care. Um, it was in fact the software. Okay. So for anybody that was interested in the radio that I had shown you guys last night, the AT779 UV. Okay, that is an Anytone branded radio. I went to another site, and I'm going to bring it up here in a second, called Radiodity. Okay, many people can mispronounce the name, but let me see if I can copy this link. And I don't know, can you share links in chats anymore? Let's see. Did that work for me? Yes, it did. Let me know if y'all click on that link if it worked or not. Yes, Mischief, I was here a few hours ago. Yes. So what the deal was, well, it was the wrong software. It was the right software, written for the right radio, but the coding was wrong, and you guys, if you stayed to the end, you saw how much of a pain in the ass it was for me and Nightwing. Okay. Nightwing actually came up on stream towards the end and tried to help me best he could with all his ham knowledge. And Nightwing, I owe you a debt of gratitude here, brother. Having to know how it really saved my butt, because we did a lot of troubleshooting without actually doing anything. I was asking a lot of questions, and yeah, that eliminated a lot of things. So it put me on a path to look for the software in another place. And I remembered that Radiodity, uh, the link that I just dropped, makes quote unquote the same radio. Okay. And this is the one that Nightwing was talking about, uh, the DB20G. Okay. I don't know. Is that showing? Yes, the little window is showing. Okay. This here, programming software 2.02. That is the software that works with the cable, that works with the drivers. The manual still sucks, but for quick access to the keys, and if you know what you're doing with the radio, the manual's okay. It's not going to win any awards by any means, but for the like quick function shortcut operations, like you press function and 1 for squelch and so forth, and squelch is like to filter out the static, or various things like LCD brightness is function with the hashtag or pound symbol, or something like that. That's what this manual is good for. I suggest if you get this radio, you go online and you watch YouTube videos to learn how to program this. Okay. Now, this software looks exactly like what you guys saw last night, except for the fact that I'll just open up the window if I can. Let me stop sharing that. And let me open up Where is it here? Come on. I'm opening up the software here. Give me a second. Jeez, how many did I open up here? Holy fuck. I clicked the button one too many times. Shit. Let me see here. Present. Window. I think this is it. Is it showing? Yes. Okay. So, let me make that full screen. Let me go back here. And so me and Nightwing last night, were trying to figure out how the hell do you do the things, change the numbers and such of these frequencies and channels, right? We couldn't do that on these here. And I figured out why. Let me go here, open. Hold on a minute. That's not what I wanted. Fuck me. So anyway, point is we were clicking these double arrows here, and this window would not allow me to enter a frequency. This channel, or this program rather, actually allows it. This version from Radiodity. For some reason, it now has the drop-down window. You pick one, and it automatically sets the offset, which is the in and out frequency. They have to be a slightly different in order for a repeater to work. Okay, you can name your channel, and then you have your list of tones. At which point you look this up online, and most likely it's going to be 141.3, or my area anyway, it was 192.8, or I think that was it. There was one more, I think the 127.3, maybe. Either way, this menu now works, which makes my life a hell of a lot easier. Okay. So if you're looking for this radio, again, go to Radiodity, and I suggest getting the DB20G. Okay, that's for GMRS. The G stands for GMRS. Just to make your life simple, if you get into GMRS, get your license. It has opened up a whole world for me. I've already talked to people. Let's see. So to put into perspective, let me pull up maps here. Okay. I'm just going to give you an idea of how far I'm reaching with a repeater. Some signals are kind of shit, but generally speaking, okay, so where are we looking here? Okay. So, just to give you a perspective, and not to give away my location too much, as if you don't already know, not specifically, but general area, okay, north of Detroit, okay, right here, there's Detroit, and I'm up in this area, okay, that's a big area, by the way. So, we'll say we'll pick the crossroads here of the highways. Okay. Let me drop a pin or to measure the distance. And I was reaching people. Oop, let's go there. All the way to Saginaw, Michigan, roughly. That is 72 miles away. And that was specifically using, where is it here? The Mount Clemens repeater here. Okay, Mount Clemens is known for their boats and boat parades and shit like that. Okay, so roughly from Mount Clemens, which this repeater in Mount Clemens has about a 30-mile range. So to have 72 miles, damn, that's damn near, yeah, yeah. So like, what is that? 77 miles? Yeah. So we'll say 70 miles today is how far I reached. So there it is on the state of Michigan. I basically cut the thumb off in terms of distance. And that was audible frequencies or communications. People I could understand. There were still people, I'm sorry, coughing still because of smoke from Canada. Um, so that is really fucking good for not having a ham license. And in an SHTF situation, I don't know how far you're going to need to communicate. But the fact that my little 17-inch antenna and my 20-watt radio bouncing off of a repeater can go 73 miles, there is nothing in 73 miles of my location, like north of Detroit. There's nothing within 73 miles here. Like, I've never been to Lansing in my life. But yet, I can basically talk from Lansing to roughly the location of the repeater. Like, that is a fucking long ass distance. Now, I know, okay, for those that are into radio, that's nothing. I've talked further than that, whatever. Yes, I can concede that ham is much more advanced. Okay, ham, you go do your ham stuff. Okay, I don't care as a general person. If you want to make radio your hobby, that's your thing. I fully support you in doing it. Knock yourself out. Um, Not insulting anybody by any means, not looking down on anybody. But again, GMRS, when you have a mobile station like I showed you last night, if you don't know what I'm talking about, go back and watch last night's live. Having a little thing that does 20 watts, can run off a car adapter, and reach 70 or so miles off of a repeater with a 17-inch antenna, I call that a fucking home run. The only thing, and I will pound this into oblivion, is that fucking software. Okay? Why don't you just manually program your shit? Well, you gotta look up things, okay? You gotta look things up on the internet. The frequencies, the offsets, generally speaking. Now, I'm thinking of getting one of them big old books that are like list of the frequencies and shit, just so I have a hard copy. Um, that way I don't have to uh, look shit up so much. So I would say GMRS is on the top end of your everyday person. Okay, ham is in a league of its own. Okay, not talking bad here. Okay, I just don't know enough about ham radio to speak on it. Okay, I know radio and the basics of it enough to program a radio, bounce my signal off of a repeater, and talk to somebody 70 miles away. Now, in an SHTF situation, in a very dense city, okay, to reach a repeater from basically, we'll say Detroit, okay, the Metro Detroit area, to have my signal go up to Mount Clemens, be picked up by the repeater, and then be broadcasted back out. Let me put it into perspective here, okay? So Mount Clemens is up here. Let me drop another pin. So we'll say, not giving away my position here, okay? But just for the fuck of it, we'll put it right here at the intersections of M53 and the 102. Okay, that is 12 miles. Okay, 12 miles is in the city. Okay? That's 12 miles in the city. That's dense buildings, that's skyscraper, well, maybe not skyscrapers, but I mean, shit. Industrial shit in the way. Big ass buildings. Okay, the Chrysler plant. Shit. That alone. That's what, 10 miles? Yeah, 10 miles. Okay. From basically 102 is 8 Mile, by the way. And M53 is Van Dyke. So 8 and Van Dyke. So that's like no-go area. But either way, basically from Eminem's house up to Mount Clemens. Wait a minute. How far is that? Why am I? No, that is 12 miles. I read the increment thinking that was 10. Okay, yeah, that's 12 miles. To get 12 miles in a densely packed city that is Metro Detroit, that's fan-fucking-tastic. To put it into perspective, your little handheld walkie-talkies that are 5 watts that everyone puts in their bug-out bag. Okay, okay, so here's 8 Mile, 102. And then here's 9 Mile. That is 1 mile. In case you couldn't do the math. Okay, that is 1 mile distance. Handhelds are lucky to go half of that distance in this type of an area. This is just a neighborhood. Okay, an average neighborhood. Well, maybe not average, but either way, it's a neighborhood. Unless you have line of sight, you're not going more than a mile with a 5-watt little handheld walkie-talkie. You might go a mile if you have an 8-watt, at which point that's kind of pushing the limits of GMRS, but you really, at that point, you're not caring about legalities of things. Christy says my 5-watt reaches 70 miles. Again, it depends on location, your height, how strong the repeater is, or how strong your signal is. There's a lot of variables. Not saying you can't, but the circumstances for that to reach 70 miles in a densely packed area that is the city of Metro Detroit, that is fantastic. And then to go basically from here, bounce the signal from there to there, and then all the way the fuck up to Saginaw here. We'll say generally the area that is Saginaw. Holy shit, Saginaw has grown. Holy shit. I didn't realize Saginaw was so big. It's been a while since I've been over there. That's a Zoowaukee Bridge. It's a nightmare going through there. I'm sorry, is this the Zoowaukee Bridge? This is the Zoowaukee Bridge right here. Yeah, it's wild going over it. Anyway, yeah. Yeah, from here to here. Yeah. There's nothing in an SHTF situation that this won't cover. Like, that is a fantastic distance. Granted, it was on a clear day. Still. Your mileage may vary, okay? But I had a fantastic day knowing that I was reaching people, even if it was the slightest, okay? I had to concentrate and really listen as to what the person was saying. But we had a conversation of, hi, how are you? How's my signal coming in? Blah, blah, blah. And that's good enough for me. You know, I spent $130 to have a mobile setup that pretty much can do anything. And I finally have the software to do it. I can't tell you how much I hate that software. That software is a pain in the ass. Like if there's something that the FBI or like CIA could torture people with, is trying to program a radio with that software. It's not fun. But yeah. So we're gonna. I don't want to leave the technical stuff out of it because it teaches people, but I guess we could just have a discussion or eventual argument about which type of radio service is best for whatever situation we decide to talk about. So, let me go through chat here real quick. I only have 38 people in here. Come on. Let me drop the invite and we'll see where this goes, and we'll have some discussion about shit and see what happens. If anybody has questions about the radios or the radio or types of radios or really anything, we don't have to stick to radios necessarily. I just wanted to tell y'all and rub it in your face that, like, I got the software to work, or the right software, and I figured shit out. Like, I feel accomplished. I don't know. Small victory on a Saturday. I'll take it for as much of a headache as it was. What's going on here? Food brand. What's going on? Why is Grace saying sorry to hear that? What is going on? Christy says, as long as I can hit a repeater, I'm good. Holy shit, he got a haircut.
I've had a haircut.
Long time no see.
Hello.
So, I don't know. Were you there last night?
No.
No, not really.
No.
Okay. Either way, long story short, I got a little mobile-based radio that runs off of a cigarette lighter plug and I figured out how to program it, and I can keep it in the truck or keep it here in the room, and it's fantastic.
Cool.
It's literally the size of maybe a tape recorder, maybe a little smaller actually. So
Can you put power to it?
yeah, I have also got a basically the Harbor Freight Jackery
Oh,
power box, uh,
what are those called? I forget.
Predator.
Yeah, predators. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing with their gas generators too, or predators.
Yeah, they just shit. I can't fucking speak. They just came out with these like 6 months ago, so that was about 290 out the door.
Yeah.
They're a little expensive, but the thing is,
3 or 400 watt.
uh, let me see here. Hold on. It is 350 running watts, 700 starting watts, and 294 watt hours.
Oh, okay.
It's not the best thing. It's not a jackery, but the thing is, I bought it for the fact that when I run the lights on the truck, I have to have the truck running. And the other day when I did an event with CERT, I ran the truck for almost 8 hours, and I burned a quarter tank of gas. So quarter tank of gas times 5-6 times a year. Shit, this is one charge.
Yeah.
I'd rather run it off the batteries.
How big is your tank in your car
I think
or
like
truck?
shit, 17,
Oh,
20, something like that.
I figured it. Yeah, I figured it'd be over, at least
My
20 per
my
truck.
my range is like 330, 380, something like that.
In
It's not
city.
well, city. I'm getting mileage like 14.
Oh, okay.
That's not. It's truck miles.
Yeah.
That's not anything special.
Yeah. My new car. It's oh man, it's night and day compared to my truck.
So, um, again, I'm going to go ahead and uh, do this here
You might want to think about. Do you have a spot that you could stick a second battery?
in the truck. The
Yeah.
actual no, it's
Okay.
pretty crammed in the um, engine
Under the
bay.
hood.
Because you could kind of upgrade your alternator and then have your lights run off of an extra battery.
Right. I was thinking that's a lot
Oh
of
yeah, Phil
internal.
just said that.
I'm sorry.
Phil R just said that too.
Oh, I do have to give this dude Nightwing last night. Again, I'm gonna thank you personally, like publicly here, dude. You, sir, are a lifesaver in terms of radios and knowledge and such. So,
Yeah, I would love to talk to him more. He is so knowledgeable.
yeah.
Oh,
But
I'm sore.
yeah.
Rough day at Royal King.
Yeah.
In a little bit more of a somber type thing. Today
How's
is
your air up there?
yeah, sucks.
Oh, so you're getting it too?
Oh, dude, I've been waking up with headaches. It's terrible. You can tell I'm kind of congested still. Um, a little bit more of a somber note. Today is my dad's birthday.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because he said we were going to the cemetery.
Yeah, we're probably gonna go tomorrow if at all. I don't know. There's been a year or two where we've skipped it.
Well, at least you remember.
Well, we go. Um, we've gone religiously on the day of his death, so that's not too far away from his birthday. So
Oh, okay.
it's like we were just there. So
Well, my grandpa always said that Well, you're born twice and you die. You die twice. When your body dies, and then when the last person remembers you.
I will never forget my dad as long as I live. You know.
And how old was he when he passed away? 101.
63, 64-ish. Was gonna be 64. So
It's sad. My wife, her father died when she was in her 30s.
oof. Yeah.
I want a little update on the smoke. My son's in Montreal today with the band he works with. And he said it is just a mess up there. It's just smoke everywhere.
Dude, it was terrible yesterday.
I was going to ask Jim how his air is.
It's not bad here. It was actually a little hazy for a few days. Today the sky was blue, but we had like a passing thunderstorm around a little after 4 o'clock. You wouldn't even know there was any smoke in the air.
Well, they said the air quality is bad enough to do the warning where I forget what it's called, but to keep people inside.
Yeah, with breathing conditions.
Jim, where are you located?
Okay, anybody can look me up on the internet.
Pennsylvania.
I live on my YouTube channel. I don't mind because listen, I have a webcam. People can't see. A lot of people have looked at my website. I'm in Skippack Township, Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, 25 miles northwest of Philadelphia.
Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Did you really say that, or did you call it? Is that what you call it?
That's what we call it around here.
That's funny.
Philadelphia.
Okay, my son said it's hot. He said it was hotter in Montreal. He flew from, I think it was Kansas City, Missouri, to Charlotte, and then they got a plane to Montreal because there's a festival there today. And he doesn't like the heat any more than I do. And he said he couldn't believe how hot and humid it was up there. If you're in Montreal, that's further north than the Metro Detroit area.
We had a balloon festival where they were supposed to take off today, and they got grounded because of the visibility and the air quality. And I was wondering, with all that in the air and stuff, about a balloon hitting all that fire going into it. I wonder if that could ignite.
Well, they had warnings on the local news channel telling people, like, with respiratory problems, heart problems, not to go outdoors. I'm thinking, if people are in Philadelphia and you go outdoors, the air is bad to begin with.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably not too good in Philly anyway.
It's not, I remember already being down there in school when we went down to they used to call it the Arco Oil Refinery. And first of all, the air is always bad. And when you're in a bus that's powered by diesel, it stinks. And when we got out of the bus, I couldn't believe I was like in first grade. I can't believe how bad the air was down there.
Look at what look at what Texas is dealing with right now.
Yeah, I can only do like 40 right now. I got an ice chip vehicle ahead.
Was talking to somebody they were telling me about Texas, the winds and stuff.
Yeah. Now, in an environment like this, shit, you could go for hundreds of miles if it was flat line of sight, with a radio and such.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they got good visibility there.
What, Jim?
If you were in Oklahoma or Kansas where it's really flat.
Smoking the Bandit. Jackie.
It's supposed to cool off tonight here. It's supposed to get down to 58. I'll believe it when I see it. And we still haven't had a 90-degree day. I saw on Channel 6 this past week, they said the average date for us to get a 90-degree day is May 24th. We've gotten up to 89 in Philadelphia, but no 90 yet.
It was 80. It was 87 here.
You beat my area.
set the dang sprinklers up tonight. Because she said it wasn't supposed to rain tomorrow, and it's going to rain at 3 o'clock in the morning. So them plants at Roll King should be nice and hydrated.
So I treated my lawn for weeds and such today. The fuck is going on outside? Why do people gotta be annoying? So I bought weed and grass killer, and you remember that plant that I couldn't fucking kill?
Yeah.
Oh my god, this shit killed it. And I've used brush clear stuff before, and it just wasn't working. I don't know what is it?
What
Was it
time of the year
ortho?
did you do it?
Huh?
What time of the year did you do it?
Usually during summer or spring is when I did it last.
Oh.
Did it kill any of the grass though?
Well, on the side of the house, yeah, it killed the
Okay.
grass because I don't want the grass there, but we're gonna end up relaying sod, so I'm just gonna kill everything that's there. And
Did you do a garden this year?
no, the weeds got way too bad, and I'm just going to basically bomb that shit with the weed killer and grass killer tomorrow, and then I'm gonna wait about a year, and then I'm gonna start up again.
Oh.
So, or at least wait till next year rather.
Use weed barrier.
I've tried that, and these weeds up here, dude, like they don't give a shit.
Actually, that sounds weird, but TikTok, they had a weed barrier on there, and it's the normal weed barrier sucks because you can take your hands and rip it and stuff. And this stuff is legit good stuff. You can't rip it or anything.
I've even tried plastic garbage bags, like the real thick contractor bags, and just drape that shit.
No, those are designed to decompose. You need
the hefty bags.
Well, no,
any trash bag.
I'm talking to starve it of light, and then.
Yeah.
So what I did when we ripped up my mom's rose garden because the roses didn't survive the winter, we planted a tree in the garden here, and it's a small crabapple tree kind of thing, kind of like what we have up front, and we put rocks instead of just whatever. So I put over the weed barrier stuff, pulled as many weeds as I could, got it level or as level as I could, and I put the weed barrier. Then I put a sheet of plastic, like it was thin, and I'm not expecting the plastic to last. It was more to keep things down, and when it rains, it holds the water. Then I poked holes in that so the water could drain through. And then I put the rocks over it, and then I lined the edges with pavers so we can walk around the edge. So
I hope you didn't promise your mother a rose garden.
No, she's given up on that.
Well,
she got to the point where she hated the roses. Like,
you really should not use the weed killer where you're gonna grow a garden, because that stuff can last for 20 years.
Yeah.
And if you grow kale, that's gonna be in the leaves.
We're probably gonna end up hitting it then with the vinegar, salt, and dish soap type thing.
Yeah.
I just got
like when I put a raised bed down, I spray it with and it has to be at least 5% vinegar.
Well, we got the cleaning vinegar where it's like 30%.
Yeah.
So that'll do. But,
and you spray it down really good, and then you put cardboard, and then you put your dirt and stuff down. And
it just says
the vinegar kills the root the grass and everything.
Mischief says, what about burning?
Yeah.
Or no, Pam says, what about burning? Sorry, I misread that. I can't really burn my garden because my garden is up against my PVC plastic fence, and I don't need my PVC plastic fence melting. So I do have a weed burner that I use for the cracks in the sidewalk and shit. So, but yeah, this brush clear, dude. Oh my God. It toasted those weeds. Like within 15 minutes, it was like they're actually dried up and started to crack and crisp up in the sun. It was wild.
Yeah. I got some, well, I forget, because normally I wouldn't buy it, but last couple of years I've been getting a lot of poison ivy grown, so I'm spraying that stuff down, and it's not next to my gardens or anything like that.
Grace, my dog, we do not spray anywhere near where Casey goes, so she's got her own little section of the yard, the dog pen and such, and we don't touch that. We don't treat it. All we do is cut the grass, and it is what it is.
Well, isn't it having shepherds? Wherever they urinate, it kills the grass eventually. It burns it.
Huh.
It's not like you can collect dog urine, though.
I mean, you could, but it's
but it'd be
difficult.
And messy.
Yes.
I got a question. Do you have a nursery spade or a grub and hoe 101? Because it's easier to dig up ground with a nursery spade than a shovel.
You mean a hoe?
Well, actually, I use a nursery spade for planting trees.
What is a nursery spade? You're losing me on that term.
It's not a shovel. It's like rectangular. It's got a either a 13 or 15-inch blade, like an A.M. Leonard nursery spade.
So I have square shovels. I have kind of spear pointed shovels, and then I have like a short shovel that's really long blade that's about 17 inches long and it's like 6 inches wide, and I don't know if that's what you're talking about.
I'm gonna put one in private chat. Actually, I got a new one that I was pretty satisfied with from Home Depot. That has a 15-inch blade.
I'm surprised Home Depot's got anything good these days.
Well, these nursery spades have gone up in price. They used to be like $85. Now they're $125 to $200.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh.
You need to go to ours selling for $38, I think.
Next stop, Rural King.
But they don't have metal handles and 15-inch blades. Because I've looked at Tractor Supply too, and nobody has really much of what I want. There's only really 2 companies that make heavy-duty spades. Because one of these things, you could. I put it in private chat. That's got a 15-inch blade on it.
Are you calling a spade a spade?
Yeah.
Let's see.
150. Jeez. I'm in the wrong business. I need to make.
Oh, yeah, I have one of those, but not that expensive. Shit.
They used to be $85 about 5 or 6 years ago. Everything is double in price. I was telling Bushcraft the other night on his show. It's a monopoly. Kubota has filters, and you can't get an aftermarket one for cheaper. I had to pay $50 for a Kubota transmission filter.
My grandpa bought our nursery spade. I guess you can, if that's what that is. Like what? $5? Shit.
Yeah, we have the cheaper version for $29.99.
They have the wooden handles, and the blade isn't probably as long.
Yeah, but for $100, I can make a handle out of metal.
Shit, you give me $100 in steel, I'll make you the best fucking shovel you ever seen.
Yeah, and this is a 16-inch too, by the way.
That's what she said.
Actually, it's funny. Amazon has some of the A.M. Leonards for cheaper than A.M. Leonard has. But the thing is, the kind with the wooden handle eventually break. It was about 20 years ago. The metal
But-
handles do not break.
No.
I'll buy 3 or 4 of them for year 1 and probably never run out of a speed.
Well, the thing is, I've had blades 13 inches long, and then they're too short. Where I've worn off 3 inches of metal because I need a good 12 inches of metal to plant a little tree.
When you ask the forklift driver to be careful with your trailer while loading, but you didn't mention anything about the tires.
Why is he loading from the side?
What, you've never seen trailers be loaded from the side?
Not that low.
Oh no! Somebody
You
wasn't
approach
watching. That's the
Yeah,
point.
but you don't start at the bottom level. You start at the top and then move in. You don't even start low. You already start at the top and move in.
I don't know how somebody does that. And the fact that you went through both tires, like you didn't feel the resistance, you just kept going. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. I saw that and just thought I'd pull that up real quick.
I've actually, the only thing I've done so far is because I get in a hurry and I bumped up against a curb. I haven't damaged anything, just, a little scrape here and there, but that's about as much as I've done.
And actually, Home Depot has a nursery spade for a little over $50.
I'll be right back.
It's got a 13-inch blade, but the thing is, they're not as wide as the Leonard. I got the one with the 15-inch blade, and I can actually pry stumps out of the ground with that better than a 13-inch spade. Because if you're digging through any kind of soil, it's easier just to chop it up with a spade than dig a hole with a shovel.
That's what I do, Vester. I don't. Most of the time, I get them old shovels with the hickory handles, and they last.
But you're not using one every day and trying to plant 1,000 little trees for like in a few weeks. It's a repetitiveness. Figure the old spades that had the wooden handle, they would break before the blade was even worn out. But with the metal handle, it's not going to break. Let me see if I can find a grubbing hoe. Like most people think of a hoe. Years ago, when I started hoeing weeds around trees when I was a teenager.
Well, you get the one that has the angle,
Anyway.
so when you pull it, it cuts the weeds, and you push and pull. You're talking about that kind of.
Yeah.
Because the other type of hoe, it's meant for something totally different. I mean, you could use it for weeds, but
So I just came back into the conversation, and all I heard was you can use that hoe for a different thing. Oh no!
It's a good for self-defense too. I can't believe the prices. Just a grubbing hoe from AM Leonard is $72.95. They used to be like $35.
Well, so much for the radio talk. We went from radios to gardening. What the fuck?
We'll get back to radios.
I just find it funny. It's like, why do I always expect that we're gonna stay on subject? We never fucking do.
Never.
We never do. It's
Well, you mentioned about the garden, so I thought I'd be.
Oh, I know. It was my fault for bringing it up, but shit.
How long were you on the radio today talking to someone?
About a 5-minute conversation. It's more of a, hi, how are you? Check your signal and, everything's sounding okay. Make sure your equipment's in good order. And then a lot of the times the guys will sit there, as I will too, and just turn the radio on and wait for people that are to join the conversation, I guess.
Do you think the person who spoke to has been a long time user?
I have no idea. I didn't ask that too many questions, but I did mention that I'm new to GMRS and such. Um, yeah, he welcomed me to the whole group of people and was pretty nice about it instead of being an ass, you know. Uh, it's a totally different world uh, compared to like CB or Ham. Not that Ham people are assholes, but they do have a kind of a gatekeeper kind of complex. No offense, Nightwing. um, I don't know. GMRS is somewhere in the middle between CB, where you can pretty much say what you want as long as you're not an ass, and then you still have more of an etiquette to it than uh, CB. You know, CB is
CB is anything goes type of
right.
thing there,
It's yeah.
especially
CB is the
19.
CB is the inner city of the frequency band. uh, GMRS is probably the nice suburb neighborhood, and then Ham is probably your luxury mansion. So, yeah.
That's where people have the big towers.
Nightwing says we do have bad people in Ham. Hate to say it. Well, I'm sure we have bad people in GMRS too, and definitely in CB. Um, you get bad people anywhere. But my point is, the etiquette. Like it's Nightwing will understand when I say 73. That's it's either a hello or a goodbye or the salute to the other person kind of thing. You kind of get that on GMRS. Some people have used 93 instead of 73. Okay, Nightwing says and 88. So same thing. You say these little things that mean you have like a secret code or a secret meaning to things without being encrypted. It's the airways know these little ins and outs of a conversation.
Okay, the most important thing to be when you're a radio operator, you want to be a smooth operator.
Yeah.
Remember that song, Smooth Operator?
You mean Smooth Criminal?
No, there was a song from the 70s, Smooth Operator.
Huh. And Q codes, QSL, etc. What is QSL?
I've read that somewhere. I'm sure what that means.
I never heard of Q codes. I've heard of 10 codes, like 10-4 and such. Oh, contact, basically? Okay.
Normally, how we receive you is 10-1.
My God, the repeater's quiet tonight. I'm surprised. It's a Saturday night.
I used to know a good bit of those for CB.
What, the frequencies?
No, codes.
Oh.
Southwest winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Chance of rain 50%. And now the remainder of the 7-day forecast for the listening area. Monday, partly cloudy. A chance of showers in the morning, then a chance of...
How's it coming in? Like, are you guys able to hear that?
Yeah.
Southwest
The weather.
Yeah.
miles per hour. Chance of rain 30%.
That's channel 500. I'm kind of baffled that, like, you can get 500 channels in this small of a package. I don't know. It's wild to me.
I'll be curious to see if you find any ladies using one of those.
I doubt it.
See,
Like they say in radio, everyone's obsessed with their radio because they like to talk to anonymous men online or on the radio or whatever.
Again, this was the 80s, but you could meet women from the CB. That was in the city though, and not on channel 19 because that was a whole other ball.
No, 19 is 19.
That's trucker state, truckers channel.
For GMRS, it's 16. That is a higher frequency, but it's still not a repeater channel. If I remember correctly.
Why is it called a repeater channel?
Okay, you have your handheld frequencies, your lower powered ones, okay, in terms of wattage, anywhere from a half to like 1 watt. That is 1 through 7 in terms of channels or frequencies in this chunk of frequencies that they allot us to. And then from 8 to 16 is, or 8 to 15. Let me think here. Hold on. 8 to 4, 8 to 14, 8 to 15, something like that. Either way, those are half a watt. Okay, those are for literally talking down the block. Okay, when you have a higher watt radio like I do, high meaning high for GMRS, 20 watts is nothing, but 20 to 50 watt radios that are not handhelds cannot transmit low enough just by their nature and their build to go down that low in wattage. And the FCC has set rules on how high of wattage you can go on certain channels. So on a base station like this, I'm basically useless. I still have those channels in there, and my radio will go down to a half a watt. So I got lucky buying this one. But again, some base stations can't do that. This is one that does. So anyway, and then 15 to 23, 22. Okay. 22 is repeaters. Okay. 16 is kind of the in between of the repeaters and the handheld frequencies. 16 is considered like your CB's 19 channel, where everybody goes. It's the channel that when you don't know what to turn to, you turn to 16.
Where everybody knows your name.
Right. Repeater channels, when you have a base station that can go higher than 5 watts, like this one that I have, you can go all the way up to 50 watts. Okay, now if you're wanting a 50 watt base station radio, that's about, I don't know, you can spend in the thousands. You don't have to, but bottom of the barrel one is probably $250. That's a little steep for me just for an average radio. I'm not looking to get into radio like Nightwing, but those are allowed higher wattages, and they are allowed 50 watts to a tower. Okay, so if I'm on a long road trip and a car is, I don't know, 15 miles ahead of me and I need to reach them for whatever reason, I'm going to go to like channel 22 and crank my amps all the way up to boost my signal to reach that person. a lot of the times the off-roading community will go to 20 to 22, somewhere in there, 20, 20, 20, 21, and 22. Those top 3 channels to do what they do because they need the extra power to punch through the trees and all the obstructions and still get their signal out. So they're pushing everything they can with these higher wattage base stations. The base station that I have, being 20 watts, is plenty powerful enough, being that it how do I want to put it? It's not the wattage, it's how you use it type thing. This tiny radio does some fancy shit and amplifies its signal so well that it's basically a 50 watt. And the thing is,
so it's not the size of your radio, it's how you use it.
Right. That's what I was getting at. So when you're talking wattage and these higher channels, Jim, between 20 and 50 watts really is not that big of a difference. It's not worth the extra $150, honestly. Like I said, I talked to somebody 70 miles away. I don't know what more you need than 70 miles in the dense city of Detroit.
I wonder if that's a digital amp, because just like with audio, okay, MOSFET circuitry came out, and then they went to digital because of the size of that unit. It won't surprise me if it had a digital amp in it.
Oh, this is I don't think it's amplified by any means, but it's definitely digital.
Or would be a lot more
powered amps.
I'm sorry, what? What, Bushcraft?
Well, I know for CBs. I'm not sure about what you have, but it's powered amps.
Powered amps being what?
To boost the power of your signal.
So when I turn the radio on, I'm pulling 2 watts just to run it. Okay. I am at 13.5 volts right now on the radio, it says here. When I key up, it drops to 12.5 and then back up to 14. So there's something in the radio that think of it like the cold cranking amps in a battery when you first start your car.
Well, or
it
it's
gives
like
it that extra boost initially.
It'd be like hooking up a coffee maker and you hit the switch. There's that big drain, and then it levels out.
That initial surge of power. Constant wattage is 20, and then like startup or when you first key up the mic, it's a little more powerful, of course, because it needs that.
Yeah, there has to be a capacitor in there that stores up the current, and then a transformer.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
it's a whole. I forget what they mono di. Shit, I can't remember the name.
You got mono?
Hold on. Okay, Mount Clemens, calm down.
That's a waste.
What?
The festival's shooting off fireworks. You can't see, but maybe a half mile down the road.
Yeah, you don't need any more air pollution.
Right.
So
we don't need more
flashes of light. You're not even seeing the fireworks.
What were we talking about? Oh, I can't remember what exactly they.
Whoa.
Nightwing, are you familiar with the term heterodyne? radio or monoheterodyne, something like that. You'll know what I'm talking about. I might be saying it wrong, but you get what I'm saying.
I don't know if you guys can hear it.
I can hear that in the background. Yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
The fireworks.
Oh, yeah. For once, it's not me with the fireworks.
Next month.
Yeah.
Well, probably next couple weeks.
Is Nightwing there? Nightwing, you in chat?
We got display up, and we have to have fire extinguishers at both.
Ah, damn it! You jinxed me. There's fucking fireworks. Oh, fuck you. Oh, you bastards. Yeah, somebody just launched a couple. Fuck. Nightwing, are you familiar with the term monoheterodyne or heterodyne radio? And what those mean? Or I may be saying them wrong.
Probably.
But what exactly are they? I'm pretty sure they have something to do with the way they're built.
Well, it's a signal frequency that's created by mixing two other frequencies. There's a signal processor in there technique, which lowers the frequency.
Yeah, okay. It's how you convert RF into audio. I see.
Yeah, it goes up to 45 megahertz.
So, I would assume that what I have here is a digital radio.
Or it'd be a lot bigger, because digital amplifiers are so much smaller than you know.
An analog radio.
That's older.
Nightwing was saying like he has one that has tubes or something.
Yeah, that's old.
Like that. That's some old shit.
Yeah, but I bet you can get a nice amp on that and boost that.
Yeah,
compared to digital ones.
Well, the thing is, when you say boost, Bushcraft, coming from your CB background, GMRS is basically limited on its wattage. Ham, on the other hand, as far as I'm aware, unless it specifically states certain frequencies, you're pretty much allowed to put as many watts as you can, up to like 10,000.
Well, not so much anymore because, well, if you live out in the country, it doesn't matter. But if you're in the city, and if you put a antenna up or a tower up for CB or something, anybody watching TV around you, you'll key up and it'll knock their TVs out.
Well, it's the same principle as my little light here on my desk. Remember, I'd key up on my CB and it turned the light off? Do you remember that?
Do what now?
My desk light. When I would key up my handheld CB, it would turn the light on and off.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I had my home, and I think
Nightwing says
my antenna
max he can do is 2 kilowatts. What is that? 2,000 watts? You really jinxed me with these fireworks, dude. You bastard.
I think you would need a really big unit to do 2,000 watts.
Well, yeah. Nightwing said it's tough to do. So
I bet his tube radio is huge.
In and out power. Yeah.
I'll be right back. I'm going to go see what the fuck is going on outside. I'm sorry. This is getting a little ridiculous, what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I dread 4th of July, even though it's my wife's birthday, because the township next to us does the fireworks, and the dog is just a nervous wreck when that happens. And around here, it's like almost not every township, but it's like we can get on the deck. We can see fireworks from every direction.
I've seen so many fireworks. It's like, ooh, you know.
And if we would walk up Mill Road to Methacton High School, you could see everything going on almost in the whole county, because that's at the like top of the bridge.
Well, you figure most county fairs have fireworks. You know, they'll set fireworks off at a county fair. So, in a year's time, being in the carnival, I would probably see, 30 to 50 firework displays a year, and it just gets old.
It'd be like eating the same meal every night for dinner for months on end.
Oh, like,
Anyway,
I take the kids out and let them watch and everything. It's just, I don't get a thrill out of it. It's just, that's like going to a theme park or something and riding rides. I just don't do it because I grew up riding rides over and over again because I didn't have to pay or anything, because when I was a kid growing up in the carnival, you got bored, you rode a bunch of rides until they got tired of seeing you on there.
Now, there's no county fairs in this area, Pennsylvania. The closest thing we have is every year, they've done it since I was a kid. The Lower Providence Firemen, they have a fair where this company comes out here, and they set up all these rides, and they have a thing like you can shoot a BB gun at them, the targets that are moving.
Yeah.
And I've said to my wife for 20 years, "You want to go to the fair this year?" And she said, "No way." But when we were kids, everybody was. You figure they had all these video games, pinball arcades, all that stuff. And there'd always be a lot of the Lower Providence police would show up. And I remember when I was in high school, there were fights between the cops and the motorcycle gangs. It was scary.
so question here. Hold on. Nightwing was talking tubes for radios here. This may be a stupid question, but can you still get tubes for things like the old?
You can still get tubes for things. They're very expensive. I had a Tannenberg reel that was powered by tubes, and I had so many problems with the thing. When we moved, I decided to chuck it because I got to the point of spending more money keeping the thing fixed. I probably should have held on to it and sold it on eBay. The thing was huge. You can get tubes, but where most of the tubes are made now? China and Russia.
Well, of course, Russia.
And they're not cheap.
Right.
Then you got two different types of tube amps. You got single triode tube amps, which amplify everything in one stage of the signal. Then you got push-pull tube amps, where they amplify in two stages, where it's like on, it's off, it's on, it's off.
And what is the purpose of tubes? I'm ignorant on that, but I know that they were an old type of circuitry.
Like a resistor type.
Okay.
Yeah, but you gotta remember that the only way you can amplify things was with the tube amp, which has a large transformer. Tubes were popular because solid state wasn't invented yet. When solid state came out, everybody just loved it because if solid state came out, then right after that, stereo came out. Once solid state came out,
solid state is like the chips on the boards and such, right?
It's circuits, MOSFET circuitry.
Yeah, circuits.
Okay.
There used, this was probably 30 years ago, 35 years ago. Jeez.
I'm not an electrician.
There was a dump that somebody had dumped a bunch of old TVs.
Yeah.
And we decided to go down in this dump. It was on the side of a hill. we actually had to have ropes to get up and down, and we got inside those TVs. We busted them open and pulled all the tubes out of them, and then we ended up selling the tubes for like a lot of money. And that was like 30 years ago, over 30 years ago.
I mean, I don't see why you like. That's a good opportunity. Shit.
Yeah, we were into everything. I mean, a some kind of factory. I can't remember. I think it was a window factory. Would have the crates and everything that the glass and the other stuff came in, and we would go down and pick it up because they would throw it out, and we would go down and pick it up, and we would build picnic tables out of them, and we would, and that at that time we'd sell them for $25 for a picnic table.
Okay, so like back then, shit, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, and we just leave them set out in the yard, and somebody'd come by and buy one, and you know, it wasn't something that.
It was passive income.
Yeah, and another time we were doing so many different things. Like certain part of the day, we would go out and go ginseng hunting, and then another time we would go after yellow root and different things, and just go out and get the stuff. And we made our own little ovens to dehydrate the roots faster. Ginseng, we'd probably make about $400 or $500 between the both of us a day back then.
You know, so Nightwing here says, remember having a radio from Swan Electronics that uses old sweep tubes in the final area of the radio used 4 6LQ6 tubes. I don't know what that is, but sure. I don't know. Since I got into radio here, just a thought. I miss Radio Shack.
Okay, the reason why people are in a solid state, I put it in private chat. They get 100 watt per channel, and this is a hybrid tube, solid state combo, Macintosh amp, 100 watts, $5,000.
Jesus Christ!
But they figure, okay, a lot of it is opinion. Tubes do give a certain type of sound, a warm, soft sound of the music, and solid state, people say, gives a harsher sound.
Do tubes burn out?
Tubes burn out. And
they're just like light bulbs.
They're just like light bulbs. And then the other issue is when you replace a tube, most amps, you have to bias the tube. You got to look at the light and dial it in so it's like right in the center.
You have to look at the light.
You gotta bias the tube. Actually, my son has a PV tube amp for his guitar, and and about 15 years ago, he had to get some of the tubes replaced.
You have to bias the.
You have to bias the tube manually.
So you have to make sure it's dead center.
Well, you got to turn a dial and dial it in so it's just right.
Oh, it's like
it's called biasing.
It's like calibrating it.
Yeah, they call it biasing the tube.
Okay.
And the other disadvantage is, let's say you want a 350 watt per channel tube amp. They run in the summer. It's hot with one of those things in the house. It's like having a space heater.
Really? They get that hot?
They get real. I know people that have audiophiles. They only run their tube amps in cool weather because it makes the room so hot.
So
it's like computers.
Would these things catch fire?
Well,
they can.
They could if you. I mean, you don't want to have it. You want to have it like on a table where it's open.
Well, if you ever look at the old when they first come out with the plastic radios, that had the tubes in the back of them, you would see a warpage where the tubes were.
I remember one. I've been into this stuff for years. I remember when the Donica company, they were like one of the first companies that came out with a 200 watt per channel solid state amp, and then Pioneer came out with one, and those were really expensive in the 80s.
Nightwing says it's basically a light bulb with extra parts inside.
Yep.
Huh.
Because there's a filament just like a light bulb, and they all burn out eventually.
I understand there's a filament. I didn't know there was anything extra. Again, I was not a geek for electrical motherboards and nothing. I took a class during college, and that was it.
Well, you weren't born when the tubes were big.
Well, to understand any of this, it's
yeah.
I mean, there's tubes out there that cost a few $100s per tube now, and some of these used to be $100 a piece.
Dude, like that's the type of shit now that like you fix up and then you only bring out on occasion, and you're really careful with it.
Well, see, nowadays, like Jim said earlier, it's digital amplifiers.
Yeah, I haven't heard any of the digital amplifiers, but they are way smaller, and they amplify the current differently, being digital.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I have a solid state amp.
Nightwing says, remember the tube testers in stores.
Yeah. Radio Shack. Kmart had one too.
Oh, I miss Kmart so much.
I miss Kmart.
It was cool. You go in there and plug it into the board.
People in our age group remember, people like Bushcraft and me and Jeff Bear, you could go to Kmart and get Quaker State oil on sale for 99 cents a quart back in the 90s.
Well, you remember it used to come
in the old cardboard can.
And these were plastic.
Oh.
Wolf, I remember my dad got Wolf's Head motor oil for Howard rotovators, and he had to use a can opener.
Yeah, exactly, Bushcraft, where you stab it. Yeah.
They had cardboard on the side, and they were metal on top.
Right.
Now Wolf's Head comes in plastic containers. They still make it.
You know, they bitch about all these plastic bits in the environment, yet everything we package these days is in plastic.
Mm-hmm.
So
because it's cheaper than glass. When I was a kid,
glass is not as disturbing to the environment. Not that I'm the global warming crap, but I don't want a plastic in my water.
The thing is, 90% of the resin's what plastic and rubber and everything's made out of.
Right.
Comes from, China.
Petroleum.
Right.
And the thing is, when I was a kid, you couldn't get, I don't even think they had 2-liter bottles of soda. I remember my mother getting me 7-Up, and I was disappointed. Why didn't you get the 12-ounce bottles, 7-ounce bottles? And they were always glass.
You don't remember the big bottles of pop?
I don't remember the 2-liter bottles until
it wasn't 2-liter. I think it was probably about a 1-liter bottles. It might have been 2. I don't think it was 2.
It was the early 70s. I don't think in the 60s they had 2-liter bottles of any soda available.
No, I think it was. I don't know how many ounces it was.
Josh says everything is shit nowadays. Yeah, it really is. Like, yeah.
I never saw a 3-liter Pepsi. I'm a Coca-Cola drinker.
Did you know that Coke is more American than Pepsi? Because during the Cold War, Pepsi signed a contract with Russia to exclusively sell in Russia as the Russian brand of pop. Huh?
Grace got it. 32-ounce bottles.
Oh.
The big bottles. And then there was the 16-ounce bottles and then the little Coke bottles.
And meanwhile, while Russia signed a contract with Coke, or with Pepsi, Coke signed a contract with the United States. Also, Fanta Orange Pop is also Russian. it was invented by the communists, them trying to mimic our orange pop over here.
Plus, there was a brand of soda made exclusively for the German people during World War II. I can't think of what it was called.
Schweppes?
No, it may have been. I'm not sure if it was Fanta.
No, that's Russian.
Let me see if I can find it.
Okay, so Nightwing says actually it was the Germans. It was Fanta. No,
It was
shit.
Fanta.
Okay, so maybe the Russians invented it for them. Either way,
It was a Coca-Cola alternative in Russia. I mean, in Germany in 1941.
okay. So
I looked at WW2 videos and saying,
we were kind of both right.
yeah.
So that's why I drink Coke.
Why don't you like the kind with the sugar in it?
I don't know. It sticks to my teeth, and it's like, yeah, you know.
I think the diet soda has an aftertaste.
See, I don't get that.
My
But
wife
again, I
used to
drink it so much that I probably don't even notice anymore.
My wife used to drink Diet Coke, and about, I don't know, almost 20 years ago, she just decided she doesn't like it anymore. Just out of the blue. I was shocked.
I don't know if I could do that. I'm addicted to Coke like I'm addicted to coffee. And I can't go without either one. Literally, when I go to work, so I have my cup of coffee in the morning before I leave the house. And then when I get to work, I make another cup of coffee. I have my Diet Coke throughout the day. And then about halfway through the day, I make another cup of coffee. Yeah, I'm pretty well.
We have Real King's popular for this, but we have a popcorn machine where people get free popcorn, and we also do free coffee, which it's the K-cups and everything. But on that display or on that little counter, there's the coffee machine, and there's cream and sugar and all the different kinds of coffees that you can choose from. And it has a little thing for salt for the popcorn, and it has a thing for sugar if people want to put sugar in their coffee. And no, everybody makes a mess. So that counter has a bunch of salt and sugar on it. So I was bored waiting for something to happen. So I moved all the sugar and stuff into a line.
Oh.
And somebody come up and said, "What the heck's going on here?"
Bush guy snorting the sugar.
and everybody looked over there and started cracking up laughing. And I forgot I didn't clean it off. I just left it there.
Oh, you just left it there. That's funnier than actually doing it.
So going up there to get coffee, and it's like, what the heck is this?
He just left it there. Oh, that's a good one. I could just see you, like, you do it, you don't say a damn word, and you just walk away and see what happens.
So now I'm gonna have to do that every time I see a mess of salt or sugar up there.
You know what I like about Coca-Cola 101? It's the real thing.
What's that?
Coca-Cola is the real thing. Have you ever seen the video of the Coca-Cola song commercial from the early 70s?
No.
The real thing is a long time ago, in the 80s.
Well, are we talking like a rock from Chevy, like that old?
I think it was 71 they came out with. 1971 they came out with it. The Hilltop Singers. I like to buy the world a home and furnish it with love, grow apple trees and honey and snow turtle doves. I like to teach the world to sing with me perfect harmony. I would like to the world and keep it company. And the real. I like to teach the world, and I like to buy the world and keep it in the real world with world events. That's the Coke song.
Jim, either you looked that up and just read it, or the fact you've seen that commercial or whatever.
Listen, when my son and his girlfriend came here last weekend, I found the commercial on YouTube, and people. Okay, another one, the Hillside Singers. They did jingles. If anybody, one of the most watched TV news songs is called "Move Closer." Move closer to my world. You ever hear of that before?
No.
The local Channel 6 News changed their theme in 1996, and there's a public outcry because they redid it with the orchestra, and they had to bring back the original song.
My neighbors are assholes. They're now pounding music.
Well, most neighbors are.
What I would give to move to the semi-country areas out here, where it's rural enough to get away from people, but still close enough to the city where I can go do shit.
When I was a kid, I mean, they actually had good commercials on TV in the 70s.
They need to bring back jingles on TV. Proper jingles, not these like weird ones. Like the only one that sticks in my head these days is avocados from Mexico. That one. I don't know. Things have not.
Oscar Mayer wiener.
Yeah, exactly.
There was a lot of them back then. That was big business back then. Was jingles and stuff.
I know this is gonna sound weird, but have things gotten boring with like things?
Well, how many commercials do you watch?
None. What I'm saying is, like, where's the vibrancy that we had in the 90s of, like, the style of Taco Bell, McDonald's, and all these other restaurants, and, like, things seemed more vibrant and happy. Nowadays, it's like we live in Russia.
Well, you couldn't play it in the show. I put it in private chat. This is the most used news TV theme for like local cities in the country. Hey, Lake's in chat. Good to see you, Lake.
Holy shit.
Because I think New York City, one of their TV channels uses that theme. The guy, Al Ham, who wrote it, he made a fortune on it. A 2-minute song.
Damn. Dude, seriously, I'm gonna start like firing my airsoft guns at these fucking neighbors. They're fucking pounding, and it's going through my walls, and I hate that shit.
You can hear the vibration that loud.
Yeah. You hear that?
Hi, Lake.
I could hear Bushcraft's fireworks. Well, not his fireworks, but I could hear the fireworks.
It's over now.
I guess we better get back to radio talk soon.
Radio Gaga?
Yeah.
Radio Goo.
God, what era was that from?
80s.
80s?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, that's when he did that. Was it Live Aid or something like that?
Live Aid.
In
what is that, Gatorade?
UK.
Well, that was in '85. I remember hearing that on a local FM radio
Everybody just went. The whole stadium. Everybody was like really quiet during the whole thing because they had multiple different bands and stuff come out, and Queen went out there and just blew it up. I mean, the whole stadium was, going crazy. I still remember watching that. That'd have been so cool to be there, though. Yeah, you notice they don't do those things anymore.
What's that?
Those little, where they get a bunch of different artists together to do concerts and stuff, or Farm Aid and different things.
Well, when half of the artists are dead, it's kind of hard to.
Well, there's a lot of new artists. Why don't the new ones come up with stuff to help people?
Because artists nowadays are so concerned with themselves and making it famous, they don't dare give anybody else the chance to take the spotlight from them.
Well, I got an idea for the liberal artists. They could come up with migrant aid. Just for the migrants. I shouldn't give them any ideas.
Migrant aid. That's what the migrants need.
Well, I was looking at a story the other day about artists that are not allowed, that have been banned from countries.
No shit.
And it said the reasoning behind it, and Madonna was one of them. She's banned in Russia.
For what?
Selena Gomez is banned in Russia.
Again, for what?
They support LGBTQ.
Yeah, all that.
Whatever
I can believe that.
And they have a list for, and it's just not there.
I thought it was going to be like something stupid, but that's a pretty damn good reason.
Rihanna and what's that other one? Beyonce. They're banned in this one country for wearing their clothing they wear. It's too,
too revealing.
Yeah. It's an Asian country. I can't remember what it was called, but it was interesting looking at some of the celebrities and where they're banned at and reasoning why.
I am so tired of ghetto ass people.
I went on Facebook today. I don't have an account. I use my wife's. My sister sent me a message. And the thing, Monco, it's like, I'm so sick of it because of the Pride Month. They got shows on all the local affiliates.
You want to hear some bullshit? So, coming up here, we'll be having a parade, right? I give you one guess as to what this fucking parade is that I got to do traffic duty for.
The rainbow.
Yep.
And I have a niece. She's as left as can be. I told, when Grace was looking for her house, Warwick, New York is like the most leftist town in America. They're having such a big celebration for that.
I don't understand why people support mental illness.
The churches have signs up. And actually, when the manure guy was here around this time last year, he couldn't believe all the churches he drove by, like in the Ambler area.
Oh, God. So the church that we had my dad's funeral at, right? We had just gotten done with the funeral, and we're rolling out after everything, and we see the sign, and we're like, it says, we support LGBTQ. We're like, fuck this shit. So we halved the fucking donation to the fucking church because of that.
Well, technically, they should support the people, not the group.
Not the cause. Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, my point is, like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and I'm tired of it.
And the manure guy, he's a Lutheran. And like where he lives, he said they're real conservative. He can't believe all the churches around here, the Catholic churches don't have any signs up about that though, or the Mennonite church.
Like I don't mind people being what the fuck they think they are or whatever. Just don't bring it around me. Don't flaunt it in my face. Just do your thing and leave me the fuck alone.
Don't expect me to celebrate your
Right.
your group or whatever.
Whatever your thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't expect a Jew to celebrate
Christmas or Easter.
Christmas or some other Christian holiday, or I don't expect a Muslim to celebrate Christmas. Like you just do you over there. I don't give a shit. Just don't blow me up. Or
Well, technically, Christmas isn't a Christian holiday.
we can go into the whole pagan side of things, sure, yeah. But my point being is, like, I don't tell you what the fuck to do, so why are you flaunting your shit in my face?
That's the whole thing where you can't say Merry Christmas.
Oh, I make it an absolute point to say Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays.
Like no.
Now,
no.
If somebody says they're, I'll say Happy Hanukkah if they celebrate that. I
have never met anybody in my life that celebrates Hanukkah.
I'll tell you, Jehovah's Witnesses, I know this because...
Or Kwanzaa, for that matter, too.
My friend who hosts my website, he's a Jehovah's Witness. He's a really nice guy. They don't celebrate Christmas, and they don't celebrate birthdays. And do you know some religious factions, when this country was founded, did not outlaw celebrating Christmas because they considered it a pagan holiday?
Did you know the Amish don't celebrate birthdays because they think it's a worldly thing?
I've heard of that, but some of these Amish were so fed up with what was going on in their farm community. There were videos this summer where Amish people let their faces be videotaped of them talking about how they had it.
And it's not all Amish.
Not all.
No, just some. Like I watched this guy Eli Yoder on YouTube. He's an old Amish guy from Ohio.
Yeah, I've never heard the name Yoder.
Yeah, he left the Amish and now he does YouTube, and it's kind of cool to see things. And he mentioned that they never celebrated birthdays because they considered it worldly.
But they are armed. They love deer hunting.
Yes, but they strictly use them for hunting, not necessarily self-defense.
And they also use them for crop damage for white-tailed deer. Because it's getting bad out in that area with the deer population.
I say not necessarily for self-defense, but I mean...
Yeah,
some of them will.
There are, like, kind of like the Amish mafia type.
Yeah, it's more of a we hold our ground and you don't butt in, and we don't, we won't tell you what to do, and they won't. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not so much like a self-defense situation here in Detroit. It's more of a stay off my land type shit.
There was a big to-do, I forget how many years ago it was, where an Amish farmer got in trouble for growing marijuana.
Well, I mean, yeah, no. I mean, if that's part of your business, and
that's before it was legal for medical.
I mean, you could technically claim religion on that because they do a lot of that herbal shit. They don't go to doctors if they don't have to.
But they were selling it in large quantities.
Well, I mean, there's got to be profit.
Yeah. But I wouldn't want to rub an Amish man the wrong way.
Dude, I hate Jehovah's Witnesses. Dana B says Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah. Let's see. We've gone from radio to gardening to now.
My friend doesn't try to convert me because he can't believe how much I know from reading the Bible in my life.
Dude, you probably read the Bible more than anybody else I've met. I'm not to the point where I can recite the Bible or like anything like that. So like you bringing up stuff, shit.
Yeah, I would not say. Look at it like this. It's Merry Christmas.
Right. We have a magnet on our back door to the garage. It says "Keep Christ in Christmas."
Yep.
Whoever owned the house prior to us here was definitely a vegan because we have these stickers of like there's one that's got a little baby chick on it. It says "I'm not a chicken nugget," and they have a whole bunch of these stickers like "Animals are friends, not food" type thing, and they made it into a cross, and we never bothered removing it, so it's just kind of been there. The fuck was that? You good there, Bushcraft?
Huh?
You good there, coughing or
Yeah.
whatever the?
Just a cough.
Okay, it sounded like you were ready to throw the fuck up.
No.
Non-denominational church. I don't know how I feel about non-denominational churches. I've been to one twice because I went with my cousins, and that's kind of what they do. They do the um, those types of churches that are like stadiums that you see the videos of our God is an awesome God, that type of thing.
Yeah, you can't play that song anymore. Remember, because of copyright.
Yeah, I get it, but yeah.
Have you seen the video of it was in a church and they were singing Madonna's "Living on a Prayer,"
Yeah, no.
not knowing what it actually the meaning of that song was. They thought it was a religious song, so the choir was singing it. I'm like,
I would take Bon Jovi's "Living on a Prayer" more than that. Shit.
Oh, what the heck is the song now? I can't remember it now, but I can't. I can hear it, but I can't remember the name.
I've already been to non-denominational churches, but the thing that gets me is if you go to these churches more than once, then they put pressure for you to give them money.
Of course, it's a Joe Osteen type deal.
I know, and the thing, okay, I don't know if they have any. They might have somewhere Bushcraft lives. Church of the Brethren. They're an offshoot of the Mennonites. Well, the one in Skip-Hack, guess what they celebrate this month?
Gee, I wonder what.
When a church goes woke, that's it for me.
Really, I've drifted away from the whole church thing. It's not what it used to be when I was a kid, and not that I want the stale sit in a pew type church. I hate that. But I don't want the rock concert type crap.
And the thing is, look at it's sad. A lot of people, their kids grow up and they have no religious upbringing. You figure I went to Catholic school for 3 years. My sisters each went for 8, and the stuff the nuns did to me would be considered child, abuse.
Yeah.
Being put in the closet, being hit with the yardstick.
Oof. Put in a closet. Shit.
Yeah.
I went to a Catholic school from what, 2nd grade to 6th grade. So yeah, 4 years.
And my wife went for 8 years.
And what's really uneasy about that, uh, the school that I went to, I'm not going to say, but the gym teacher recently got investigated for abuse of people.
The priest that said my mother-in-law's funeral, similar thing happened.
Huh.
When I was a kid, all the Catholic priests smoked. I remember seeing the priest come in class with an ashtray and a cigarette, Father McFadden. That was first grade. Most of the priests were all Irish. And I remember my father, the block collection. The church I went to was Visitation BVM on Trooper Road. And my father hated the fact that church bulletin came out every month, and they would have a list in there of how much money each family gave to the church. They were trying to shame you into donating more money.
Damn.
And my father said during the block collection, give Monsignor Larkin a bottle of, I forget, it was either whiskey or scotch. They were all looking for liquor.
Well, I mean, the church hasn't exactly been the,
And he
the
figured,
saint, no pun intended.
but you figured these priests aren't supposed to own anything. And I remember, before he was a Monsignor, I think that the priest had a driver, and he rode around in a Mercury Marquis.
Well, here's the thing: is it's not owning it if it's donated to the church. That's why it's a 501c3.
Yeah.
It's for the church. It's not for the person, and that's how they can get away with saying, "I don't own anything."
And the
It's all
rectory,
the churches.
yeah, I know. And the rectory, they had their own cook for the priest.
Well, that might be a bit much. But
Well,
you get what I'm saying. Is
yeah, I
it
know.
like a car is donated or whatever, or bought with the church's money?
Look at it like this. I don't ask for a handout, and I don't get handouts. That's how I look at it.
Right.
Now, can you hear Holly drinking water?
A little bit.
Okay.
Slopping.
She's a sloppy drinker from when she was shot in the face as a puppy.
Oh, what
She's
the
still
fuck?
got nerve damage. It drives my... When she drinks water, there's a trail that drips out of her mouth.
Type
You're
shit.
good. You're
Oh,
good.
my back. I'm getting old.
You're getting old. I'm 64 now.
Ugh, you're double my age. I'm at the age where I'm thinking like I'm old, or I'm starting to feel those aches and pains and that. And then I'm thinking like, okay, how is Jim doing it? How is Bushcraft? You guys are so much older than me. And it's like, if I'm feeling this crap now, like, how crap do you guys feel?
My biggest problem is my shoulder. I made the mistake last week of February to start doing overhead presses, and then all of a sudden,
Accident waiting to happen.
because I never liked doing those, just like I never liked doing squats. There's other leg exercises.
Well, everybody asked me why don't I take, because you're allowed a 10-minute, well, 2 10-minute breaks, not including lunch or whatever.
You got a half hour for lunch. I saw in the video you did.
And they say, why don't I take 10-minute break? And I said, well, because when I sit down, it hurts more when I get back up, because my body has to get, my old bones and stuff have to get going again, and
you gotta wait for the rest of you to catch up.
it takes a while for me to get moving again. So I just keep moving all day.
Yeah.
It's not so bad. It was worse whenever the first week.
I noticed
hard getting going again.
I have noticed recently that when I bend down to pick something up at the warehouse or something or whatever, I don't bend with the knees and it's more in the back because for some reason my legs do not um yeah, I'm strong when it comes to squatting and all that and um but the balance for some reason when my knees are bent, I lose my balance. When I try to pick something up when I'm kind of half squatted, if that makes sense, like in mid squat. If I'm all the way down, I have no problem. If I'm all the way up, I'm okay. It's the in between that throws me off.
Yeah, it depends um, how far down the pallet of whatever I'm lifting.
Yeah.
Um, usually I'll just grab it and pull it close to me and then lift up
Yeah.
and then
Is it more your back than
throw it in, and
yeah.
that's where your arms start going when you have
Oh
to
yeah.
throw the bags up in there. And all the trucks are huge now.
Yeah, you were saying they're high off the ground. Like you love putting mulch in a 3500 that has.
And that's why I bought a mid-size.
I mean, some of those trucks you almost need a ladder. That's why they have a step to get in them.
Well, look at my Frontier. It's the size of what a GMC Sierra was back in the 90s. It was considered the full-size truck, and now it's considered a mid-size truck. It's why it's even built on a full-size frame. The Titan frame is a full-size truck, so shit.
Because the bottom of the frame is probably 17 inches above the ground.
My truck?
Yeah.
I know the bottom of my front bull bar is 12, so yeah, that would be close. Yeah.
Because once I measured it on my Chevy Silverado, and the reason I measured it is because when I had to pick my son up from camp when, in 2003, we had like a flash flood here where we had like 4 or 5 inches of rain in about 2 hours. Because when I was driving, you could feel the water just hitting the bottom of the truck. I thought, we got to get home. At least I was thinking, I better not stall out in this flood.
The minimum clearance on my truck is like 9 inches. Go ahead, Bush.
I was going to say you're fine as long as you don't stop.
Well, yeah, what you want to do when you cross water, you want to ride your the bow wave there, and that keeps the water out of your engine bay. But as soon as you stop, all that water is going to rush back in and
hit them spark plugs.
Yeah.
Because there's a pond up the road. Well, like the road then goes downhill where the pond is, and this pond overflowed, and it was like driving through a lake. And my son was saying, "Do you think we're going to make it home, Dad?" I said, "We'll make it home because I'm not going to stop until the truck dies."
Right.
Yeah, we have areas that flood coming back from Zanesville, and I was in a little Dodge minivan.
Oh,
and there's a vehicle in front of us, and everybody was in line. Everybody was driving through at a nice speed, and all of a sudden I seen this guy start hitting the brakes, and I'm like, no, don't do that because we'll get stuck. Because I was like, water's already inside the floorboard.
Right.
And luckily he whenever he started stopping, I started honking and waving my hands out the window, telling him to keep on going, don't stop. And he started up again. He was in a bigger vehicle too, and I was like, why are you stopping?
What was I gonna say?
You forgot.
Yes, I did. In a couple minutes here, though, I am gonna shut it down. Damn it, I can't remember. That's gonna bug the fucking shit out of me now.
About water going in your car?
I don't know what it was. It was something to do with the flood. Oh, I remember now. So the Great Lakes watershed here in Michigan, that's basically the water supply for the southeast quarter of the state. Um, they have declared people to or advised people to not run their dishwashers and washing machines and such at certain times to prevent flooding because our infrastructure is so bad that it cannot handle it.
I
They
don't
are
understand dishwashers because that actually saves.
no, not dishwashers. Washing machines.
Yeah, that I can understand that.
Dishwashers aren't really much anything, but
Yeah.
they said for us to conserve our water usage. And we never got an answer to why other than like infrastructure's failing. Like, well then fix it, damn it. That's why we've hired you.
Yeah.
So yeah. I haven't ever experienced any flooding here, knock on wood. Except for like a quarter-inch of water in the basement, which really wasn't a flood. It was more of a it rained and the building foundation had a little tiny pinhole in it that just so happened to let water in.
Not in your area, but that water main break and then it froze.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, that'll do it. But they're talking, everybody conserve their water here to prevent flooding. But I haven't seen shit. I haven't heard of shit, so
Yeah, it seems like you're not conserving water. It's the waste water
right.
is what they're getting at.
So a lot of the flooding, when it does happen, is usually on the coast of the lakes there.
Yeah.
But that makes sense because you're by the lake. Never in my area have you had major flooding that's not typical. So anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and shut it down here. I'm literally falling asleep here in my chair. So I guess I will see you guys next weekend. I don't know what we'll be talking about, but I'll be here. And yes, it will be at 9 o'clock, not 7:50. So with that, 101. Jim got it. Good job, Jim.